Thank you for the introduction. My name is Henry. I've had my business Visionary for 32 years. We actually started before there was even the internet. We were corporate designers and branding, and then we evolved into digital as the internet started coming into play, and started, building websites and things like that for our clients. And look, we struggled through it because it was all new territory for everyone. And we had to learn as we went along, and as we kind of perfected our web development abilities, we realized it's nice to have a website, but it's even nicer to have people come to your website. Um, if they build it, they will come does not necessarily work. So we need to rely on a variety of tactics to drive traffic to your website. And there's a couple ways to do it. Um, we call that SEO, or search engine optimization, which is a natural, organic way of optimizing your website for the search engines. So the search engines find you. Um, there are ways to do that. There is what we call on-page SEO, which is where we work with the content on the pages of your website. Keyword-focused content, audience-specific content, but always focusing on a set of long-tail keywords so that the search engines, and when I talk about the search engines throughout the presentation, you'll probably hear me just mention Google. I'll just refer to Google. So Google is, kind of I'm using it as a catch-all for all search engines, but they are far and away the largest search engine player in the whole thing. So when I say Google, we're really kind of talking about search engines, but we do focus on Google. So, we're organizing and writing content on our website, blogs. One of the things I do a lot of now for my clients for SEO is produce blogs, because it's an excellent opportunity to get long tail keyword focused content. So we can write about something very specific that matches up with a set of keywords, write an article about it, and post that and submit that to Google. So it's in their search engine. And a lot of times my clients will say, yeah, but who's reading it? Who's reading these articles? Who's reading this stuff? It's like, yeah, I understand. I hear you. And maybe not a lot of people are reading it. And I can't give you, the percentage. We can look at analytics and things and get a rough idea. But I will tell you that the search engines read 100% of all of it. They read every word of what you do. So that's what we call on-page SEO. That's where we're doing things on our website to make it more attractive to the search engines, because the search engines are looking to provide the right answer to someone's question, right? Where do I find a chiropractor near me? Well, how do they make that determination? Because their job is just to provide that answer to that question. That's their job. They don't work for you. They work for the person doing the search. So we need to kind of play the Google game. So they use a variety of things, and one of them is this on-page SEO. Is your website updated? Are you putting information, helpful information, useful information, tips, checklists, how-tos, FAQs, and things like that? They use that as a ranking factor. Another thing they use for ranking factors, what we call off-page SEO. Those are things that happen off of your website, and that's where local search directories kind of come into play. That is an off-page tactic. Another off-page tactic could potentially be like your social media and things like that. But really, for the social media accounts are also kind of a directory, kind of a search directory as well. And we'll go through that. So the great thing about local search directories, and there are dozens and dozens of them, there's niche directories out there. Industry specific directories and things. And I'll show you a few examples in a couple of minutes. But it's a great opportunity that's something you can work on yourself. You don't need to hire a marketing company or someone, from the outside, that with a little elbow grease, little sweat equity, you can optimize these different listings, which will help you be found, because these local search directory listings, and we'll talk about it, are signals to Google. It's another way for Google to say, okay, these people have a website, they're a business, and things like that. So I'm going to turn on my little presentation here, and I just will make sure you can all see it. Okay, so we were talking about, like, search, there's intent behind it. And this is how advertising and marketing has changed in the past. It used to be a very passive kind of thing, is that you'd get the Sunday papers and look for the sales. I know I'm looking for a washing machine. So wait for the Sunday papers to come and we'll go through the circulars and we'll wait, and we'll go through it and think. Now it's like, no, I'm looking now. I'm going to say I'm looking for a, Whirlpool model, blah, blah, blah with this. So there's a specific intent behind this, behind the action of a search. So, and so many people now are doing it on their cell phones, right? Their mobile phones. So 76% of people who perform a local search on their phone will visit a physical location within 24 hours of that search. Okay. So that's a, because once again, there's really specific intent. When they're doing a local search, a restaurant near me, right? I just did this yesterday. I just did this exact thing yesterday. Open Table, I don't know if you're familiar with Open Table, that's an app. Well, guess what? Open Table could be considered a local search directory listing. So Local Table knew where I was, or I told them where I was, and I put in, where I'm looking, when I'm looking, and boom, it gave me, a dozen restaurants that I could make reservations for. And guess what I did? I made the reservation, and half hour later, I was walking into the restaurant, right? So using my mobile phone, we're walking downtown. I'm like, oh, let's find a place to eat. So boom, there's this very quick thing. So there's always intent behind it, right? So 88% of those searches result in a purchase within a week. So once again, they're doing a local search. They're looking for, whether it's lawnmower repair near me, right? So they do a Google search, and then these local, sometimes a website will come up. Sometimes your Google My Business listing will come up, and we'll talk about that. And then people will look at the listings, and then you'll call. My wife just did this thing. I heard her on the phone. It's amazing. I just heard her on the phone. I was getting ready to tell her to quiet down, but I was listening. I'm down in Charleston, and we have a bat problem. We have bats in our soffit. And they come out, and yes, the bats are good. They eat insects. We love it. We love bats. We just don't love them in our condo down here. And they've gotten in a couple times. So we would like them to find their own place. And the HOA, this has been going on since November. I just heard her she did a Google search looking for someone to remove bats. I just heard her. And then she called the people, and they're coming here, to come look at it. So she had a very specific thing in mind. I am looking for someone to remove bats. So she probably did bat removal near me, and Google knows where you are, right? When on a mobile phone, they know your location unless your location tracker is turned off, or if on your laptop, you're logged into your Google account, they know where you are. So Google knew my wife was in Charleston. Okay. So when she did bat removal near me, they gave her a list of local bat companies. And then she looked through them and said, which one should I choose? Right. So they make a consideration. Now she's looking at a local search directory listing. I guess I'm going to have to take her out to lunch for helping me out with this workshop doing this thing. So she looks at it and says, oh, let me look at the online reviews. Right. I don't know any of these companies, So she looked at online reviews. She did this, and she made a determination. And what did she do? She picked up the phone. She called them. Okay. And spoke to a human being right away. And they're coming down to look. Okay. So there's a big immediacy with these local searches and these local search directories to help facilitate these things. So it's pretty interesting. So, what is local search? So local search, I mean, it's fairly obvious. Really, we're targeting specific regions or cities or neighborhoods. We're really looking for maybe it's something around where we are, or maybe it's something very specific that you're looking for a hotel in Los Angeles. That's a local, a local search. You're defining a city, a region, an area, and saying, show me the search results within that area. Some things don't matter, right? I mean, some things don't matter where businesses are located, but a lot of what we do day in and day out, we're looking for something specific. Sometimes we want to give business to a local company. Yeah, there's a big box retailer or there's a big box this down there. Yeah, we don't want to, maybe we can find someone local that does it, right? A plumber, right? A plumber, an electrician, things like that. Those kind of local searches are very, very, if you were to use paid search, are really expensive. They could be like $100 a click if you did like pay per click. So Google now offers a service for like local service companies where they can be kind of vetted by Google, reviewed by Google to make sure that they're in good standing, they're insured, they're licensed, and then they'll give them like the Google's good housekeeping seal. Like it's called Google Guarantee, and you get a little checkbox, and then that also indemnifies you that if you hire that company and something goes wrong, Google will reimburse you like for some of the thing, so it's a process. You have to be approved by this Google Guarantee thing. But if you're like a service company and things like that, home improvement, things like that, it's really important. So local search, once again, neighborhood, cities, zip codes, it could be a zip code, right down to a zip code. So, why is it important? It's because when people do local searches, they're typically closer to making that purchase decision, right? Like I said, they could be walking down the street looking for a cafe, right? Cafe, coffee near me, Starbucks near me, and things like that. Or are they open? That was another one. We just did this the other day. I didn't know if this place was open because it was Mondays, and a lot of places down here in Charleston are closed on Mondays, So I just quickly Googled them, Googled their hours, and then I got their Google My Business. Oh, they're closed today. Okay, keep walking. So you're doing this while you're walking down the street, you're standing on a line at a bank, whatever, you're actually doing that search then. So it's really more of an immediacy. Like we kind of refer to things like as the buying cycle, when people are purchasing cycle and things like that. And for some businesses, the purchasing cycle is very long, right? So if you're going to hire, let's say, like someone like me who builds websites, you're not going to do a Google search, website developer near me, click on my link to my website and then click buy now. It's probably going to take a week, 2 weeks. It could take a month for me from the time someone reaches out to me to the time they become a client. So that buying cycle is very, could be very long. Other businesses, that buying cycle could be very short. They're looking to buy coffee, a cup of coffee. They're looking for a cake. They're looking for a chiropractor. They're looking for urgent care, right near me, right? I think I have COVID. I did that down here too. I thought I had COVID. I Googled, well, where am I going to go? I don't know anything around here. So I did urgent care near me or walk-in near me, found a place, looked at their reviews, and made an appointment. So, that's very important that we are aware of this and that we understand that we need to optimize our website and think of our website kind of as a lead generator, right? It generates leads for us, but not everyone is ready to purchase. Sometimes they're doing research, and that's what so much of search is about. They may be at what we call the top of the funnel. And the top of the funnel, think of it as a funnel, and a lot is at the top, and then as you go through the cycle, at the bottom of the funnel, you may get a couple of customers, right? So you have to have a lot going in the top because you lose them throughout the stage. They may go to a competitor. They may have gotten a better price. They may have changed their mind. So that top of funnel thing is when people are investigating, right? They're looking into it. They're trying to weigh their options. Is it you? Is it this person? And things like that. Well, we can't, and I've had clients ask me this. They're like, we're not interested in top of the funnel. We just want the people who are ready to buy. And I have a solar energy company that told me that. I was like, well, I said, solar energy, it's like $15,000 like purchase. Like that's not like something that you would just decide on a whim. Like people have to do research. They have to compare you to the other guy and, different things. Like I understand you don't want to deal with the people who are just investigating, but I had to tell them, buddy, that's how life works. You better get used to it. You're going to have to do your work to get this account. And that's where your website would come in. Someone finds you through maybe a local search. They may find your Google My Business listing, but They're just investigating, they're looking, they're comparing, they're trying to get information, and things like that. And that's where your website is going to nurture that lead along, right? We bring them to the website, but it's not enough just to bring them to your website, because they're going to look at it and in about 3 seconds decide, is this for me or is it not for me? And then they'll either see something that they were looking for and continue, or they'll go and do something else. Okay. I think it's like 80% of people who do a search, um, if they start clicking, it's not what they're looking for. They'll go and do a new search. They won't go down to the bottom. They won't go to page 2, of a search. They'll just do a new search and think, maybe my keywords, maybe I was a little bit too broad with what I was looking for. Dentist, or builder, I mean, you can't use these very broad terms. So they'll do a new search. So when we get them to our website, we need to somehow nurture them and understand that they might not be ready to buy from you. So we need to provide them with information, valuable content. It could be a checklist. It could be something about how to. It could be a video explaining your product or service, the benefits, and the different things like that. That's why it's very, very important, when you are like building a website and trying to have this digital presence in these local directories, is that you really, really understand who your audience is. Who are these people? And it might be different audiences for different things you do, but that's the beginning right there. You figure out who it is you're trying to reach, who are your buyer personas, we call them. Understand what their pain points are, what are their frustrations, and be the solution. Right. So, we get these directories, it's all well and good, and I'm going to show you these directory listings and how important they are. But, if you're bringing them to a website and it's, doesn't provide information or answer the question to the visitor, what's in it for me, then you're going to lose them and they're going to go somewhere else and they're going to go do another search. So it's very important that, you understand that, maybe that purchasing cycle is, going to be a little bit longer for what you offer, and things like that. So, that's very important. There's a couple things that local search directories provide us, the value. And one of the most important things that local search directories are, and these are your listings, and I'm going to show you these listings. These are listings on could be on another website. It could be your Google My Business listing. It could be your Bing listing. It could be your Yelp. It could be Super Pages. There's all these different listings and things. So it's very important to understand that these things come in. The links coming to your site are what we call backlinks. So when you have links on other websites coming to your website, that's called a backlink. Okay. And having backlinks, quality, relevant backlinks coming from from someone else's website or other web property or directory listing that we're talking about here to your website, Google views that almost as an endorsement, as a thumbs up. That when Google they see these backlinks and they can follow these links, and they see it's a relevant link. So I have a link on Ronnie's site, the SBDC. There's a link for me on there. Okay. Well, that's a relevant link. I mean, Small Business Development Center, helping businesses, a link to a marketing company. That's a good link. So Google would see that link and they evaluate every listing or website, the source of that, and they kind of grade those directory listings and say this is a relevant, important listing. So, for example, your Google listing is a very relevant, very important listing. Okay, other listings might be far less important. So Google kind of grades these different directory listings, and they'll reward you. So obviously, the more backlinks, the more links you can have coming into your website, the more Google is going to trust you and provide you with you're the answer to someone's search, right? The way search works is someone basically asks a question, and Google's job is to provide the answer. So having backlinks on other websites, and I'll show you examples and different things of backlinks on other websites, is a
One
way.
question, Henry. One question. Is it better to have many broad questions or to define specifics when you Google?
Yeah, you want to be specific, because and what you do is Google people now they're actually doing voice search, so they're on their mobile phone and they'll just say, where can I find a dry cleaner near me? Right, so they phrase it as a question, right? But they need to be specific. Okay, they need to be specific. So where can I find a men's haircutting near me? A man's barber, right? You need to be specific. So you always want to try to be specific, because the search results that are going to come in might not be relevant to what you're looking for, and you're kind of wasting your time. So when you do a search, you're going to have paid ads up at the top, and then you're going to have what we call the organic. And the paid ones, if you're very, very broad, they're not going to be relevant at all. Okay, they're not going to be relevant to you. And then even the ones down further might not be as relevant. So you want to be as specific as you can with your search. Okay, it's just more efficient, because you're going to end up probably having to go back again and do another search. But if you have a very, very specific search, something very specific, you can put quotation marks around the keywords. And that's what we call an exact match. So let's say you're saying, there's a couple words strung together. So if you don't put the quotation marks, Google could interpret each word differently or separately, right? So if you put quotation marks around a search, that's what we call an exact match. That's Google's job, to just find what's exactly within those quotation marks.
Mm.
And then when you do that, sometimes, and if it's a long search thing, you might come back with no results, right? So it is important, but I think the way people do it now, it's just kind of like, it's kind of a casual thing, and people just like I said, they'll ask a question or whatever, or they'll just type it kind of randomly. The order won't quite be right, but Google for the most part figures it out. So in addition to those backlinks, those links coming from other websites, and once again, relevant. If your brother-in-law owns a pizza place and you're an accountant, having him linked to you is not going to be like a vote of confidence. Google's not going to look at that and say, that's a relevant link. That's a vote of confidence. It's just not. So these backlinks are part of the signals that we send to Google on SEO. And this is a backlink is off page. Remember I said on page and off page stuff. This is happening on other websites or other directory listings. So it's very, very important that, and it's hard to do, if you're asking someone to put a backlink. Like I just had a meeting last night with a hotel I do work for, and I think I'll be showing you their listings, and he owns a bunch of restaurants. And I said, well, we should be backlinking those restaurants, having links on those restaurants to the hotel and vice versa, right? And because he owns them all, it's relatively easy for us to do it. But what if it wasn't? What if you're trying to get a backlink on Ronnie's website? It's a little bit harder to do because it's completely in someone else's control. So we have these I said it before, like on-page signals. These are things we do on our website and on our directory listings to let Google know, who we are, what we do, and how you can find us, right? So it's all little signals that Google picks up on. So it's very important that when we do set up our listings and things like that, things are done in a consistent manner. Right. So now we're really focusing on what we call the near me searches, right? That local stuff. So when you use the word comma near me, or even if you're on the phone, you don't even have to do that, because as long as your location's on, they know where you are. So you do a search, a near me search, they're going to take in your location into factor when they return the results, right? So you'll see a page like this, right? So you did food near me. Like this is what I did last night, right? So I did this exact thing last night. I did restaurants near me, and it came up. It knew where I was. Like, see here, this is the location, right? And you can even click here and do precise location, and it will tell you you're standing on the corner of Elm and Main, okay? And it will show you what's like across the street from you. So these are your Google My Business listings, and that's the most important local directory listing we have. And if you're not familiar with it, and I'll show you an example of one, your Google My Business listing is a free listing that Google provides to every business. You will either set one up from scratch, or they may have set it up for you and you just need to claim it. So what's very important though is Google's gonna, you have to prove you have a physical location. You have to prove, some things. I have a client, we actually had to shoot a video to prove that he had a physical, he had trucks, he had an office, he had a sign, like, because they kind of like said, this is a little iffy because we're looking at the map and that's woods. That, like, he's in the middle of the woods. It's like, no, that's his yard. He's got an office and his trucks are there. And so, but we had to shoot a video. Other times they just say, you know what, we're going to mail you a postcard to your physical location with a verification code just to prove who you are. The
Wow.
Google My Business listing is they want to make sure you're verified, that you're a real business, and all the things that come with that Google My Business listing, which is your contact information, being able to leave reviews. My client, you can book their hotel room through their Google My Business listing. It's kind of cool. So when you do that near me search, you see these listings come up. These are your Google My Business or your Google Map listings, your directory listings. And they call this the local pack. So when you do that very specific search, you get these come up. It's called the local pack right here. And these could be anywhere from 3 to 5 that will display on a search page. Okay. And they're kind of random. They'll rotate these, they'll put in different ones if there are more in the area, right? So you could click here for more places and things like that, and it will show you a complete listing of everything around you. So how does a local search work? It's relevancy. So you fill out your profile, like on your Google My Business listing or your Bing listing or your booking.com listing or your Angie listing. These are all directory listings that you make sure you completely fill out your profile, listing all the services you offer. So when someone does search, you'll come up. And then also the areas you service, right? That's important as well, because with different listings like Google My Business listing, you could put the zip codes you serve, the counties you serve, the cities you serve to help facilitate that near me search. So Google's going to look at relevance. So how closely does your listing, your local directory listing, align with what they're looking for in their search, right? And then distance, right? How far away is your business from where they're looking, right? So they're not going to serve, they're not going to serve you something up 50 miles away, right? Unless it's, maybe something like a car you're looking for a Tesla dealer near me, right? You might get someone like, if you live in Moriches, and they might serve up something in Huntington because there just aren't that many. But they do factor in distance is very important. And what's interesting is, like, being on Long Island, sometimes when you do listings like this, you might get a result from like Southern Connecticut because they might pick up something in Southern Connecticut because they get a little confused that there's a body of water in between. So distance is very important. And then once again, they're seeing how prominent, how important. Once again, their job is to serve up the best answer to someone's query. So they're going to analyze your listing. You have a link to your website, right? Your menu, if you're a restaurant, you have your menus up on your sites and different things like that, is very important. So we want to make sure. The local listing, your local search directory listing, is also what we call a citation. Okay, so now we're at a kind of a key point here. Your listing is called a citation. Okay, and we manage our citations, our local directory listings, but they refer to them as citations. And basically, a citation is any online mention of your NAP information. Okay, NAP. All right, I'm going to explain that. So basically, any mention of your company's contact information on another web property. Okay, whether it's an online directory, another website, we refer to them as citations. And the act of claiming these and optimizing these is called citation building. Okay, so that word citation and listing, interchangeable. So what is NAP, you ask? Name, address, and phone number. So the NAP is your NAP is your name, address, and phone number, and they actually do NAP plus W now. It's your name, address, phone number, and website. Right? But the key thing here is the most important thing. So key takeaway right now. Key takeaway. I'll pause so everyone can be ready. The most important thing when you're setting up, because you whether you know it or not, you have probably a half a dozen to 2 dozen directory listings for your business already, whether they're claimed or not. So the most important thing is to make sure your Facebook profile, your LinkedIn profile, your Google My Business listing, your information on your contact page are all consistent. Consistency is the most important thing, because if you are not consistent in your NAP or your citation information, it could confuse the search engines to think you're another business. It is super, super important. Do you use a suite number on your address? So if you do use a suite number, do you just put number symbol 4, or do you do suite 4? Like even those little things, zip code +4, spell out your state, don't spell. These are just little things that could potentially confuse the search engine. So the most important thing is you have all these listings, and I'm telling you, it's in your best interest to try to claim the important ones and optimize them by making them consistent and complete. That you fill out everything, every little thing they give you to use. To add, you can add photos to your listings and different things like you need to take advantage of that. So there are different types of citations or directory listings, right? So I'm going to actually show you some different ones. So they're very industry specific listings. For example, Suffolk County Bar, right? The Suffolk County Bar Association lists all the lawyers in Suffolk County that belong to the bar or pay to be on that listing or whatever. Those are directory listings, right? That's got a link to your website. That's a citation. It's a mention of your business on another web property. So you have these very niche, industry specific, okay, types of websites. For example, I'm going to show you one. My client does wedding venue. The Knot. The Knot is a website for people planning weddings. That's a niche, industry specific website. Then you have like more geographic specific websites, and like Chamber of Commerce's, and that's what I'm going to show you. Then there's listings that pull data from other sources. We call them data platforms or aggregators, and they might create that listing for you without you even knowing it. Okay, they're out there. So if you Google yourself, Google your business, you'll probably find some of them and go, "What the hell? What is this?" You know, I didn't even know I was listed here. And then, of course, websites. So you could be listed on a website. So let me show you some examples of citations or listings. Well, this is the Chamber of Commerce, right? So this is the Chamber of Commerce website, and here is this company's citation, right? Here's their listing, their address, their phone number, email, and website. This is a directory or a citation, okay? This is very localized, geographically specific. This is the West Hampton Chamber of Commerce. If I am looking for a realtor, I don't know if this is a realtor in West Hampton Beach, and I do a search, you might see Ashley Farrell come up on a search. And it might be the West Hampton Chamber website, not her website. So that's why these directory listings are important. And having this link, this backlink, this is the backlink, right? This is the backlink. This is the link going to the other site. Having a backlink from the Chamber website to your website is gold. Right? That's relevancy. Google says that's a vote of confidence, right? It's a business going to your website. The chamber is a trusted source, right? It's a trusted source. So it's very important. So, this is an example of like a geographic specific website. Okay. Here is an example of a niche listing. So this is a website called The Knot, and people who are planning weddings go here to look for photographers, florists, wedding venues, tuxedos, whatever. One of my clients is on there. Now, once again, I just typed in the not, and guess what? It knows where I am, right? So it knows where I am. It knows I'm in Charleston. So it's showing me these are wedding venues um, in Charleston. Um, and it's a directory listing. It's a niche directory listing, and it has all the characteristics of a directory listing. So now it has its own little page on the knot. And if these businesses are smart, they're going to put in every little bit of information they can. And these kind of follow information. Generally, a lot of directory listings kind of follow a formula, right? Obviously, the name of the business, and you want to be consistent here. Remember my friend, the Shoals Sweets and Slips? They just said the Shoals on one of their. So you want to be consistent, right? The address, you want to be consistent, okay? And then reviews. A lot of these directory listings allow you to leave reviews. Very, very important, right? Getting reviews and online reviews are very important. So they completed their profile. They put their social links here. They put their website link here. And then there's even a click to call button right here, right on this site. And they go right into detail, the amenities. You don't even have to go to your website. Like you don't have to go to the historic rice mill building to go to their website. Okay, you did a Google search, the Knot, which puts a lot of effort into their on-page SEO. They're an authority on wedding planning and wedding venues, right? So my client up in New York, you pay. This is a paid listing, right? There are free listings and then there are paid listings. This is an example of a paid listing, but because the Knot is so widely known in the industry, and they put so much content on their website every day, keyword stuff, ideas and advice, right? They have a blog, I'm sure, and different things, and all the things they offer, planning tools and stuff like that. This is an online resource for a niche thing, wedding planning. So if you're looking for a venue, chances are you don't even have to go to the website to see it. Now, what we do from a marketing point of view, what we can do is if someone calls and they call here, we're able to attribute the phone call to the Knot. In other words, we're able to attribute that, and we're able to attribute website clicks. Like when we use something called Google Analytics to track website traffic, we can track and say, we got 25 clicks to our website from the Knot website. We're able to track that. But the thing here is this, is you probably don't even have to go unless you really want to see. Like they probably have photos. They got there's the about. Maybe you need to see more photos, so you might go to the site. But here they have 69 photos of the venue. So this kind of thing with a directory listing. Now this is a paid one, but there's a lot of free ones. All kind of fall in line with what Google is trying to accomplish. And what they're trying to accomplish, because once again, they work for the person doing the search, is what we call a zero-click search, or we try to provide the answer right on a search result page so that they don't even have to go to your website. So having listings like this or having your Google My Business listing helps to facilitate that. So your website, while it is important and it is your home base, there are other things that are just as important. So if you're in a certain industry, okay, it's important that you have a presence on Angie, right? If you're a builder or something like that, you have to really consider these paid directory listings. Here's one for the legal world, okay? Avo. Avo is a directory listing, okay? Once again, it follows a very similar thing, even to the Knot, right? So you can see here, you can look at different lawyers. They're categorized by different areas of practice. And like my client, I do work in the law firms, and they are on here as well. So you see a similar format. We've got their NAP, right? Their NAP. Where's their NAP? Probably location right here. Okay, there's their NAP, name, address, phone. Guess what? There's reviews. Okay, the reviews are posted. They've won some awards. They have a little about thing. I don't necessarily have to go to Susan's website to retain Susan. So that's why these directory listings are so important, okay? And people will leave reviews from there. They have a bunch of stuff in there that you have her resume. You could email her. You could go right to her website, and you click there and go to her website, and it tells us we're leaving Abo and now going to her website. So that's a very effective way, right? So that's another niche kind of website. And then Angie, same deal for contractors and things like that. These are directory listings. So the next thing I'm going to show you is a Google search for my client. Remember my friend, the Shoals? Remember I just told you about him? Okay. The Shoals, they're a boutique hotel out in Southold. Okay. Pretty cool place, right on the water. So we have a few things going on here. Okay. Number one, I just typed there in here because I want to show you all their different directory listings. I just want to show you their directory. So here's their Google My Business listing, right? This is the gold one. Now they probably need to add more photos. That would be great. They've gotten a lot of reviews. There's this little blue checkbox, meaning they've claimed their listing, and I'll show you a listing that's not claimed and show you how to do that. Here's their NAP, right? And then they also have a link here to their booking engine to reserve the rooms, right in their Google My Business listing. So once again, I searched for them. I'm not on their website, but I could book a room without even going to their website, right? Because they put the time and the effort into optimizing their local search directory listing. So here they are. So like, here's different things where they're listed and all these different booking engines, and you can compare the prices right in their Google My Business listing. Okay. So we have that, and then we have some details for the hotel, right? So we can look at that and look at details. So once again, this is just their Google My Business listing. Free listing. They have to pay for the integration of the booking engine, but it is well worth it. Okay. So they have all their amenities, free breakfast, free Wi-Fi, all nice stuff, accessibility, great stuff. And then you can also see over here, these are their competitors, and these are sponsored like little posts in there as well that show up because once again, it's a location-based search. So when we just go back to their general search directory, we can see here, this is their website, right? This is the Shoals website right here. Then we come down here, TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor is a directory listing, a local directory listing, right? A trusted one. They're listed on there. They probably have to be paid to be listed on there. Okay. Then there's this interesting little thing right here, right? That's provided by Google, where it's prices by the days in the month. And it will tell you that they're pulling this information. Google is pulling this information from booking.com, TripAdvisor, all these different things. And Google puts this on here. Okay. It aligns with their zero-click search. Google wants you to be able to find what you need right here. This is a search result page that we're looking at right now. This is a search result page. We searched for them. And they put this, we call this a snippet right in here. They provided this on here, okay, to see the different prices for the different types. So it makes it so much easier for us, right? I'm looking for a cheap, the cheapest time I can go, whatever. So we have that.
Do you need a website in order for Google to give you a listing?
Yeah, well, no. So one of the things you could do if you don't have a website with Google My Business, you can create some simple web pages for yourself right in your Google My Business listing. Okay. You can create a small website right on your Google My Business listing if you don't have a website. So if you needed to go in and I'm just looking to see here if I could show you. He's got a website, so it might not show. But so like this is the optimization, right? We talk about their location, right? That's their NAP, the address, the contact information, and things like that. And then we put in the hours, and add their amenities and different things like that. But the Google My Business listing will allow you to build a simple web page right in there. So it's great. You do it yourself. Yeah. All right. So we talked about how these citations, your listings, help your search engine optimization. Okay, it makes your business more accessible, right? It's another thing for the search engines to find, help to understand better about your business, where it is, what you do, different things like that. Helps give you more exposure. And then those positive reviews within these directory listings help. The reviews are a signal. Remember what I said signals? We talked about signals to Google. Positive reviews are a signal to Google. So any business, no matter what you do, you should be making an ongoing effort to collect and harvest reviews, because that is a signal to Google. Guess what? If you've got 300 reviews and you have a 4.8 rating, which is very good, Google's going to feel pretty confident recommending you when someone is looking for a search, right? People get negative reviews. So we'll talk about that as well. But I think one of the things you said, how do you claim a listing? So I have to try to find, I do. I think I have a client that didn't claim their listing. So this is my client's Google My Business listing. He did not create this listing. He didn't know it existed. He knew no idea. But they got his NAP because they scrape other websites. Google scrapes, they index, they look for the information, and they were able to put the NAP in there and even assign him a category. Okay, he's in Michigan. So here it is right here. Own this business, right? So you click there. Okay, now that's going to take you to now the claiming of this or managing it. So my client, the problem he's having, he's one of these people now where they say you got to shoot a video. You got to shoot a video of the outside of your building. You have to show us unlocking the door. Like it's like crazy stuff. Like I very rarely do I ever see this. So then you would click on that, claim this, and then follow the instructions. So like in this case, I think they're going to tell us to add a video. Sometimes they'll just say, click here to trigger a postcard. Yeah, see, look, record a video of your business, right? Crazy. But in most cases, and I'm going to say 90%, will say, we can send a postcard to the physical location. And that postcard would have a number. And then you just come back here and put the number in and your listing is claimed. Okay. So that's how you claim a listing. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So we talked about how those citations help. Okay. They drive high quality backlinks back to your website. They provide valuable information about your business to potential customers, right? At a glance, very easily. I'm looking for a chiropractor near me. Well, you show up in your Google Maps, your local pack there. They can easily look and say, oh, they do acupuncture. Ah, that's the guy I want. I want acupuncture, or he's a DO, a doctor of osteopathy. I have no idea what the quality, but you could kind of already validate your search, probably right on a directory list. You don't even have to go to his website. So it's a quick way, people are, validating this information. So obviously you're increasing your business's visibility, right? You're increasing your chance by optimizing and making all your listings consistent. You could outperform your competitors, right? So this is optimizing listing is something you can do yourself, like claiming your listing. And then once you claim your listing, then what's going to happen is, let me just go back here a couple spaces. Hopefully I can find this. When you claim your listing, and you're going to have like a Google or Gmail account or something associated with a Gmail account to claim your listing. You can see like right up here, I don't know if you can see up here, I'm logged into my Google account right here. You can see my mug right there. This is my Google account. I'm logged in. Now, because this listing is claimed and I have the ability to manage this listing because I do it on my client's behalf, here's all the tools I need to manage my client's Google My Business account. I can add an update. I can add photos. I can edit the rates. There's a bunch of things I can do. And the one thing I do for my clients is when we post blog contents or new updates, we can have them appear right here in our Google My Business listing. It's another way to get your content out there. So we use my client's blog because they're a hotel on the North Fork. We write blog content about the North Fork. We just don't write about the hotel, right? What can we say about a 20-room hotel? It's going to get pretty stale quick. right? So what do we have to talk about? We talk about the lighthouses around the North Fork, that you can take a lighthouse cruise on the Cross Island Ferry. And guess what? Book your ferry ride and stay at the shoals, right? So when people are doing a Google search, they may be looking for a lighthouse tour or vineyards, right? Or vineyard food trucks or the Mattituck Strawberry Festival. Well, we're writing blog content about these things, and on a listing, the Shoals Hotel will come up and say, okay, well, we're coming out from the city for the Strawberry Festival. Wow, let me check out the Shoals. So we were able to put those updates right here on the Google My Business listing, right? They've got all their booking engines right here. If they had events, let's say they had a food truck coming in, or they were doing a wine tasting or something like that, we can very easily go in and add an update by just clicking here and say, let's add an event. Okay, put a picture of the event, the title, the date, blah, 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 put it up, and it's going to appear right here in the Google thing. It's so great. It is so great. So you want to make sure you have that claim. And look, if you walk away from this whole thing and you're overwhelmed, focus on your Google My Business listing, right? That is the most important one. So obviously, we're trying not only to drive traffic to your website, but even more importantly, if you're a brick and mortar, we want to drive traffic to your physical location, right? Starbucks near me, right? Espresso near me, right? Seafood restaurant near me. Well, we don't want them to go to the website. We want them to, it comes up, boom, there you go. Right to your physical location, right? They can leave reviews of your business. You need reviews. Reviews are important. And obviously, you're going to increase your authority, your trust with your audience by putting up updates and putting up different things like here's a helpful, tip sheet or whatever. And that is another signal to Google, right? Your reviews, right? Providing informative information. These are all signals to Google that you're the man, right? I feel comfortable recommending you, right? Now, citations can hurt your search engine optimization. Okay, and how does that happen? It is very common to have duplicate listings. It is very common to have two Google My Business listings because you created one when you started your business without realizing that there was already one created and wasn't claimed. It happens all the time. Or you hired someone to set up your listing 5 years ago and they're gone and you don't have access to it. It's like, oh boy, what do I do now? So you create another one. Now, what you could do is you could submit a claim to Google and say, this is a duplicate. It's no longer active. Get rid of it. And they probably will. Okay. So having duplicate listings, not only on Google, it could be on other directories as well. That could tend to hurt you. It could confuse people because one listing may be outdated. It might have I have a lot of clients, they move locations over the years. They move from one place to another. Well, we got to update that. Well, if the old listing is still out there with the old address, that's going to cause a problem. So duplicate listings can hurt you. Unclaimed listings, which we just showed you, those unclaimed listings might have inaccurate information or outdated information. When I said Google will create your own listing without you even knowing about it, how do they do that? Well, there are these things called data aggregators. Okay, and data aggregators are these systems that collect your information, and they could get it from your utility bills, government records, Chamber of Commerce websites, other websites, anywhere where your you might have a citation appear, they could scrape that and then create another citation for you on some other website. So these are what we call data aggregators, is that they're researching and they're looking for that type of information. And then there are only 4 major aggregators there. And I'm going to show you a chart of how it works. And I don't want to get too much into it, but Fractal, Foursquare purchased Fractal. So Foursquare is really your hyper-local directories for dining, right? And it's very hyper-local, Foursquare, look at reviews, things like that. They purchased Fractal. These are data collectors. They collect and manage the data that's all over the internet. They're pulling data from all different sources. So they might find your business on 8 different directories, and they'll combine that data into one. and then they'll either sell that data, utilize that data, or serve it up to another local directory. Data Axle, which is interesting, and I want to put a plug in here for Miller Business Center, for the folks, if you know Miller Business Center, they utilize this database, Data Axle. Okay, so if you're looking to create a list, like for your business, and you're looking for, you want to search by SIC code or search by zip code, or search by a certain type of business or a certain business size, Miller Business has a subscription to Data Axle. And as long as you're a Suffolk County Library card holder, you can have access to this. I use Data Axle all the time. Data Axle, same way. They're collecting consumer data, right? They collect it, information. And the interesting thing about Data Axle is they verify the information. They'll call your business and say, hey, look, we're just checking to make sure that this information is still current. They actually verify it. So I created a mailing list for a client from Data Axle, and he mailed out postcards or a letter or whatever. And we had almost none of them bounce back because the list was so clean. So Data Axle is another data aggregator, but you can also utilize Data Axle if you're like a member at the Miller Business Center and things like that. Then there's this other one called Axiom, another one pulling the data, kind of doing the same thing. I mean, this is a tremendous amount of information that people put out there, right? I mean, people fill out forms, they online purchases, pay their bill. There's just so much out there. And then the final one is this thing called Newstar. So these are the primary data aggregators. They're collecting all your data, okay? And then they may use it themselves or help to create directory listings. And this is kind of the chart of how it works. Like these are the data aggregators up here at the top. They're kind of collecting this data, and then they're channeling all that data and funneling all that data. Like, here's your Google My Business listing, here's your Bing listing, your Apple Maps, and then there's a bunch of smaller other directory listings that are less important. Oops, sorry, on each side of those. They're serving up that information to these directory listings like Bing and Google. But like I said, there's even lesser ones here. Yahoo Local, okay, Super Pages, White Pages, MapQuest. These are all directory listings, but these major data aggregators are what's collecting this information and sending that information to these other listings. So that's kind of like as far as I want to go with those data aggregators. They exist. So yeah, how do you check your if you wanted to check all your citations and things like that? Obviously, you can do the Google search, like I told you, with just searching for the name of your business, and you can see those citations come up. Remember, Facebook is also a citation. LinkedIn is also a citation. It's a mention of your business online. And then so you can do that, but then there's other tools where you can manage all your listings, because the most difficult thing is, like I told you, you might have a dozen listings and they're a mess. So there are tools that you can use that they'll clean up all your listings for you and make them consistent. You pay for that privilege, and the players are Yext, YEXT, White Spark, Moz, that stands for Mozilla, and Bright Local. I use Bright Local for my clients. So it's a tool that you can pay, and it's a centralized platform where they'll make all your citations from all the different places consistent.
Wow.
Okay. You pay at least $10 a month for that privilege. Okay. With Yext. Yext is probably the most popular. You pay at least $10 a month. Then there's another plan where it's even more than that. Here's the problem though with Yext. Once you sign up with Yext and they're managing your listings and making them all consistent, well, now you're married to them. Because if you cancel your subscription, your directory listings will all revert back to what they were before. So they got you, right? So that's why I went to Bright Local. And I'll show you Bright Local real quick, because I know we're at 10:30 now. Bright Local they have actually human beings that you can pay to clean up your listings and clean them and actually fix them. So I like that a lot better. So I'll show you Bright Local. One other thing I just wanted to just kind of sum up here is, even when you do all these local directory listings, if you have multiple locations for your business, your website should probably have a landing page for each business because you have a unique address, unique information. So it's probably good to create unique landing pages for that. And just remember, this whole process is, we are link building. So that's what I have to say.